Welcome to our new project, guys. So our 50 projects in 50 days series, this is the 7th project. In this tutorial we will show you how to create a stunning dynamic landing page that will leave a lasting impression on your website visitor. So let's get started. So before we begin, let's understand what is split landing page. A split landing page is a modern design approach where the page is divided into two sections, often with a contrasting color, styles, or content. This layout creates an engaging visual impact and allows you to highlight the key information on the direct user attention effectively. So, the first step is creating a split landing page is setting up our HTML file. So we will define the sections and elements that make our landing page, including the split layout. By organizing our content into meaningful sections, we can create a good, pleasing and well structured design using our HTML file. So guys, let's get started with our HTML code. So guys, we have done with our HTML file, and this is how our HTML looks like without CSS and JavaScript. So let's get understand what we have written in our HTML file line by line, step by step. So these two lines are indicate that the document type is HTML and the language of the page is set to English. Talking about the head section, within the head section, you define various meta tags and link an external CSS file. The meta charset UTF-8 specifies the charset encoding for the page UTF-8, which supports a wide range of characters. The meta name viewport content with device width initial scale 1.0 sets the viewport to device width initial zoom level. The line link, this is used to link a external CSS in our project. This is a title tag. So title tag will appear on the page on or in the tab. So that is why we are use the title tag. And talking about the body section, so body section represent the visible content of our web page. It contains a div element with a class container that wraps two inner div elements, each a class of split. These inner div elements represent two sections of split landing page. The first inner is div split left. So this is one the first div, and this is the second div. About talking about the first, there is a h1 heading with the text PlayStation 5 and the anchor tag that is linked with the text buy now, and href hash attribute indicate that the link points to the current page or placeholder URL. So second is also the same as above the above this one div, and there is a final tag that we have used the script tag. The final line script tag includes a reference to an external JavaScript file named script.js. These files likely contains JavaScript code that adds interactivity or behavior to our web page. That will we will work on this a few minutes later. So that is for the HTML file, guys. Let's see the CSS. So now we have done with our HTML structure. So it's time to add style to our split landing page using CSS. We will apply styles to our split layout, including background colors, typography, spacings, and all kind of things. We will also explore responsive design techniques to ensure our page looks a great on different devices. So guys, let's get started. So guys, we have just created our CSS file, and let's get understand what we have written in our CSS file. So talking to this import, so this line imports the Roboto font from the Google Fonts using the @import rule. It makes the Roboto font available for the use in the document. And talking to this root, the root selector represents the root element of the document. In this case, the HTML element. It is used to define the CSS variables. Here, several CSS variables are defined, such as hyphen hyphen left bg color, the hyphen hyphen right bg colors, and rest of the variables. These variables are used to store specific colors, values, width, and animation speed, which can be reused throughout the CSS code. So this is the universal selector. The star selects all the elements on the page and sets the box sizing property to border box. This ensures that the total width and the height of the element, including their content padding and border, but not margin. This is our body tag. The body selector targets the body elements. It sets the font family to Roboto and fallback font to sans serif. It's always good practice to give the always this fallback to the font family. And we have given the height to the 100 viewport height, and the height property is set to 100 viewport height, which means the body will occupy 100% of the viewport height. The overflow property is set to hidden, which hides the any content that overflows the body. The margin property is set to 0, removing any default margin. This is our simple h1 tag. This selector, it sets the font size to the 4 rem, the color to white, and the position to absolute. The left and the top properties, along with the transform translate x minus 50% centers the heading horizontally and position it at the 20% from the top of its containing element. The white space property is set to no wrap, preventing the breaks within the heading text. And this is our button class used for the both buttons. So talking about this button class, the it sets the position to absolute and centers the button both horizontally and vertically within the containing element. The text decoration property is set to none, removing underlines or other decoration from the text. The color is set to white, and the white border is added to using the border hash FFF solid 0.2 rem. The font size is set to 1 rem, font weight to bold, and the text transform to uppercase using the text transform uppercase property. The button has a fixed width, that is 15 rem, and padding is 1.5 rem. And talking about these selectors, so these two selectors target the button with the class btn within the respective section with the class split left and split right. When they are hovered, the background color property sets the background color to the value of respective CSS variable, that is hyphen hyphen left button over color and hyphen hyphen right button over color. The border color property also uses the corresponding CSS variable value to set the border color. This is our container class. The container selector targets the element within the class container. It sets the position to relative and the width and height to 100%, making it occupy the entire width and height of its containing element. The background property sets the background color to dark gray. This is our split class. The split selector targets the element within the class split. It sets the position absolute, meaning it is positioned relative to its closest position ancestor. The width is set to 50%, making each split section occupy half of the container width. The height is set to 100%, making the section occupy the full height of the container. The position property is set to hidden, hiding any content that overflow the section. And these are the split left before and split right before. So this are the selector adds a pseudo element before the content of the dot split left element. It sets the content property to empty string, indicating no content should be displayed. The pseudo element is positioned absolutely with the width and height of 100%, covering the entire section. The background color is set to value CSS variable hyphen hyphen left bg color. Similarly, the split right this this class is also the same. We have given the background, the URL here. This is our image, and another one is, so these selectors target the split section when their parents element has a class over left or over right. When the parent element has a class over left, the width of the section with the class left is set to var over width, which refers to the CSS variable hyphen hyphen over width. And these are all the, we have also given this dot split right, split left, and right before and left before the transition to all the section with the speed and is in out. And this is our media queries. The media query targets screen with the maximum width of 800 pixel. Within this query, the font size of the h1 elements is reduced to 2 rem, and the top property is adjusted to 30% vertically, centering the heading at the different position. The buttons with the class btn inside the media query have their padding reduced to 1.2 rem and width to 12 rem, making them smaller to fit the smaller screen size. So that's the breakdown of our CSS code, guys. It style the various elements in the HTML document, including the container, split section, heading, buttons, and provides transition and responsive adjustment for different screen sizes. Let's get toward the JavaScript file. Now we have come to the exciting part, that is adding interactivity to our split landing page with JavaScript. We will use JavaScript to create dynamic effects and enhance the user experience. We will demonstrate how to implement smooth scrolling, animated transition, and interactive elements to engage our visitors. So guys, let's get started with our JavaScript code. So guys, we have just created our script in the sense of JavaScript, and the project is working fine as expected. So let's get understand what we have written in our JavaScript file. So talking to this first three line, the code start by selecting the element with the classes left, right, and container. Using the document.query selector method, the query selector method returns the first element that matches the specified CSS selector. This line add event listener to the left element. These are the event listener. When the mouse enters the left element triggered by the mouse enter event, an anonymous arrow function is executed inside the function. The classlist.add method is used to add the class or left to the container element. This modifies the class of the container, triggering associated CSS style. So, similarly, when the mouse leaves the left element triggered by the mouse leave event, so this is the mouse leave event, the another anonymous arrow function is executed inside the function. The classlist.remove method is used to remove the overlap from the container element, reverting the associated CSS styles. These lines add event listener to the right element following the same logic as described above. Only the difference is this works for the left element, this works for the right element. So, in a summary, in our JavaScript code adds event listener to the left and right element, detecting when the mouse enters and leaves these elements. It modifies the class of the container element accordingly, adding and removing classes or left and or right. This class modification can trigger corresponding CSS styles to create a visual effects or animation when the mouse interacts with the left and right elements. So this is what our JavaScript code is responsible for. So congratulations guys, you have just completed our HTML, CSS and JavaScript split landing page 7th project tutorial. By now you should feel confident in creating captivating and modern landing pages that will wow your website visitors. Remember to experiment, practice and explore additional resources to further expand your web development skill. Thank you for watching and happy coding. If you have any question, leave your comment in the comment box. Please subscribe to our channel for our web development tutorials. Follow us on our social media for updates and behind the scenes content. And if you want these images and all the kind of code, if you trouble in your code, please visit my GitHub profile. You will find the code of these projects. Thank you guys for watching the video.